The Wild West era was rife with figures who straddled the line between law enforcement and outright lawlessness. Many lawmen of this period became infamous not for upholding the law, but for their ruthless and often criminal behavior. These men, wielding badges and guns, left a trail of violence and bloodshed in their wake, their actions often blurring the lines of justice. They were involved in numerous shootouts and deadly confrontations, sometimes leveraging their positions for personal gain or vengeance. Their stories are marked by betrayals, robberies, and killings that highlighted the chaotic and brutal nature of law enforcement in the Old West. Each of these lawmen's tales serves as a stark reminder of the turbulent times and the harsh realities of maintaining order in an era defined by its wild and untamed character. Henry Newton Brown. Henry Brown served as a lawman in Caldwell, Kansas in the early 1880s. Despite his initial reputation as an effective enforcer, Brown's darker side soon emerged. In 1884, he and 3 accomplices attempted to rob a bank in Medicine Lodge, Kansas. The robbery went awry, leading to the deaths of the bank president and a cashier. Brown was captured and lynched by an angry mob. His betrayal of his law enforcement role for personal gain marked him as one of the more infamous lawmen of the era. Brown's story underscores the delicate balance between law and lawlessness that characterized the Wild West. William "Billy the Kid" Claiborne. Billy Claiborne was a member of the notorious Cochise County Cowboys outlaw group and served briefly as a deputy sheriff in Tombstone, Arizona. Known for his hot temper and violent tendencies, Claiborne was involved in several shootouts. His most infamous act was the killing of Buckskin Frank Leslie in 1882. Claiborne's reputation as a dangerous and untrustworthy lawman made him a feared figure. He was killed in a gunfight in 1882, marking the end of his tumultuous career in law enforcement. Claiborne's life was a testament to the chaotic and often brutal nature of law enforcement in the Wild West. John King Fischer. John King Fischer served as a sheriff in Uvalde County, Texas in the late 1800s. Despite his official position, Fischer was known for his violent behavior and criminal activities. He led a gang involved in cattle rustling and was suspected of several murders. Fischer's reputation for brutality and his involvement in numerous gunfights made him a notorious figure. He was killed in 1884 during a confrontation in San Antonio, Texas. Fischer's dual life as a lawman and outlaw exemplified the complex nature of justice in the Wild West. His story is a reminder of the turbulent times and the challenges of maintaining order in that era. Dallas Staudenmeier. Dallas Staudenmeier became the Marshal of El Paso, Texas in 1881. Known for his short temper and quick draw, Staudenmeier was both feared and controversial. He quickly gained notoriety for his involvement in the 4 dead in 5 seconds gunfight, where he killed 3 men. Staudenmeier's aggressive law enforcement methods led to numerous confrontations, resulting in the deaths of several more men during his tenure. His volatile nature eventually led to his own violent death in 1882 when he was killed in a shootout. Staudenmeier's brief but bloody career left a lasting mark on El Paso's history. His legacy remains a testament to the violent and often unpredictable nature of law enforcement in the Old West. William Curly Bill Brocious. William Brocious, known as Curly Bill, was an outlaw-turned-lawman who operated in Arizona in the late 1800s. As a member of the Cochise County Cowboys, he was involved in various criminal activities, including cattle rustling and stagecoach robbery. Curly Bill briefly served as a deputy sheriff in Tombstone, but continued his criminal activities. He was implicated in several murders, including the killing of Tombstone Marshal Fred White. Curly Bill's dual role as a lawman and outlaw, combined with his violent actions, cemented his infamy in Wild West history. His story highlights the complex and often contradictory nature of justice during that era. Henry Plumber. Henry Plumber served as the sheriff of Bannock, Montana in the early 1860s. Despite his official position, Plumber was notoriously corrupt and led a gang known as the Innocents. He and his gang engaged in robbery, murder, and other crimes. Plummer's dual role as lawman and outlaw made him particularly dangerous. He was implicated in over a dozen murders, although exact numbers vary. Plumber's story exemplifies the blurred lines between law enforcement and criminality in the Wild West. In 1864, local vigilantes captured and hung Plumber and several of his gang members, ending his reign of terror. Plumber's downfall served as a stark reminder of the challenges faced in maintaining law and order in the tumultuous environment of the Wild West. James Miller, also known as Killin' Jim, was a Texas lawman and assassin active in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Despite serving as a law officer, Miller was also a notorious contract killer, suspected of over a dozen murders. He was known for his ruthless efficiency and preference for using a shotgun. In 1909, Miller was hired to assassinate former U.S. Marshal Pat Garrett, the man who killed Billy the Kid. Miller's criminal activities eventually caught up with him, and he was lynched by a mob in Oklahoma in 1909. Miller's life and career exemplify the blurred lines between justice and criminality in the Old West. Clay Allison. Clay Allison was a Confederate veteran and notorious gunfighter who briefly served as a deputy sheriff in Colfax County, New Mexico, in the late 1800s. Known for his volatile temper and penchant for violence, Allison was involved in numerous duels and gunfights. He claimed to have killed 15 men in various confrontations. Allison's career as a lawman was marked by his brutal methods and frequent clashes with outlaws. His violent reputation made him a feared figure in the Wild West. Allison's story is a vivid example of the personal justice often practiced in the tumultuous environment of the Old West. Harry Wheeler. Harry Wheeler was the sheriff of Cochise County, Arizona in the early 1900s. Known for his aggressive tactics and involvement in violent confrontations, Wheeler gained a reputation as a ruthless lawman. He was involved in numerous shootouts and is believed to have killed around 20 men during his career. Wheeler's methods were often brutal, and he was both feared and respected by those who knew him. His tenure as sheriff highlighted the harsh realities of law enforcement in the Wild West, where maintaining order required a firm hand. Wheeler's career underscores the difficult and often violent path to maintaining law and order in an untamed age. John Wesley Hardin. John Wesley Hardin was one of the most infamous gunfighters of the Old West, with a claimed kill count of 42 men. Hardin's career as a lawman was brief, but his violent actions and numerous killings made him a legendary figure in the annals of Western history. He served as a deputy sheriff in Gonzales County, Texas, in the early 1870s. His law enforcement career was overshadowed by his criminal activities, and he was eventually captured and sentenced to prison, where he spent 16 years. After his release, Hardin tried to restart his life but was later killed in a saloon altercation in 1895, marking the end of his tumultuous and violent existence. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below.